Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of Greek philosophy in just 8 minutes. Yep, you heard that right. 8 tiny minutes to sum up centuries of deep thinking, heated debates, and majestic white beards. So if you're ready for a whirlwind tour of our favorite Greek thinkers, stick around till the end. Spoiler alert, your brain might overheat. But before we begin, quick question. Are you ready to do some philosophizing with me? No? Well, too bad. We're doing it anyway. Let's start with the earliest philosophers, the pre-Socratics. Why that name? Because they came before Socrates, of course. Thales is best known for claiming that everything comes from water. Like, everything. He believed water was the fundamental element of the universe. Sounds weird today, but back then it was groundbreaking. He also famously fell into a well because he was too busy thinking. Thales is basically your reminder to watch where you're walking while you're deep in thought. His buddy Anaximander thought the universe didn't come from water, but from the Epicurus, some undefined, infinite thing that contains everything. Imagine a bottomless, lidless box filled with all the stuff you can think of. Kinda abstract. But hey, that's philosophy for you. Anaximander was basically the first guy to toy with the idea of the multiverse, before Marvel. Now on to Pythagoras. Yep, the same guy who gave you nightmares in geometry class. But he was also a philosopher who believed everything in the universe could be explained through math. He even thought souls had personal ID numbers. And get this, he believed eating beans was bad for the soul. Why? No idea. So next time you skip a plate of chili, remember, you're following Pythagoras' advice. Let's meet Heraclitus, the king of philosophical one-liners. His big idea? Everything is in constant flux. You can't step into the same river twice. To him, nothing stays still. Not even you. He's basically the philosopher of chaos. The guy who would write hardcore fortune cookies. His message? Change is constant, so you'd better get used to it. Then boom, along comes Parmenides saying, nothing changes, it's all an illusion. He believed change was just our senses playing tricks on us. The world, to him, was one big eternal statue. So with Heraclitus and Parmenides, we've got a real face-off. Does everything change, or does nothing change? You decide. Parmenides is that guy who makes you doubt your own eyes. And his poem, so complicated even other philosophers back then didn't get it. Anaxagoras brought in the idea of mind, nous, as the organizing principle of the universe. He said everything's made up of tiny particles called homoiomeres, and the mind puts them in motion. Basically, he saw the universe as one big cosmic kitchen. Then there's Democritus, the cheerful one. He came up with atoms, indivisible particles that make up everything. Kinda like the grandpa of modern physics. And he laughed all the time because he believed everything was determined by atoms. So why stress? Democritus is your early Zen master. When life gets messy, laugh like Democritus. Now we're getting to the heavyweights of Greek philosophy. Get ready to think hard. Socrates, the godfather of philosophy. His method? Ask questions, then ask more questions. His goal? Make people think about what they really believe. He never let anything slide, which made him a few enemies. So many, in fact, that they sentenced him to drink hemlock, a deadly poison. His motto? All I know is that I know nothing. Imagine that. A guy who knows he knows nothing and spends his life proving it to everyone else. Socrates was basically the original internet troll, but wise. He never wrote anything himself. Everything we know comes from his student Plato. It's like getting to know someone entirely through their Instagram stories. Speaking of Plato, he founded the Academy, the world's first university. His thing? Ideas. He thought the physical world was just a shadow, a cheap knockoff of the world of perfect forms. So in his view, our reality is like a bad movie set, and the real stuff is elsewhere. You've probably heard of his allegory of the cave. People chained in a cave see only shadows and think that's reality. When one breaks free and sees the real world, the others refuse to believe him. So yeah, leaving the cave isn't for everyone. Plato also wrote about a perfect republic ruled by philosophers. Imagine a country led by deep thinkers. Endless debates, sure, but classy ones. Now for the final boss of Greek philosophy, Aristotle. Unlike Plato, he loved the real world. He studied nature, observed everything, and tried to classify it all. The original label freak. He wrote about everything: politics, biology, ethics, physics. His method? Observe, think, conclude. He's pretty much the first scientist, laying the foundation for the scientific method. He even invented formal logic, how to structure arguments properly. Concepts like cause, motion, substance. That's all Aristotle. He's the grandfather of Western science. And fun fact, he was Alexander the Great's tutor. So if Alexander conquered half the world, maybe it's thanks to Aristotle's lectures. See, a good teacher can really change your life. Now meet a totally different kind of philosopher, Diogenes, a true original. He lived in a barrel, had no money, and rejected all social norms. His goal? Live by nature and expose human hypocrisy. One time, Alexander the Great asked if he could do anything for him. Diogenes said, "Yeah, move. You're blocking my sunlight." The ultimate live-action troll. Diogenes is like the punk rocker of philosophy. He walked around with a lantern in broad daylight looking for an honest man, and never found one. He shows us that sometimes, by rejecting everything, you embrace true freedom. Next up, Epicurus, the philosopher of joy and simplicity. Contrary to what people think, his idea of pleasure wasn't stuffing your face with cake. He believed happiness comes from simplicity. Avoid pain. Build friendships. Eat well. And don't overthink death. Basically, chill. He created a garden where he and his friends lived peacefully, far from city chaos. When we say someone is an Epicurean, we mean they enjoy life, but in moderation. Epicurus said there are 3 types of desires: natural and necessary, like eating; natural but unnecessary, like chocolate cake; neither natural nor necessary, like fame or fortune. To be happy, focus on the first, ignore the third. Happiness equals being content with little and enjoying the small things. After the classical era, Greek philosophy entered the Hellenistic period. New worries, new schools of thought. Zeno of Citium founded Stoicism. He believed the key to happiness is living according to nature and accepting what happens without complaint. So, if you miss the bus, Zeno says, perfect time to meditate. Be stoic, like a bronze statue. He thought everything's connected, part of a greater whole. So stop sweating the stuff you can't control. Next time you're stuck in traffic, think of Zeno and breathe. Then there's Epictetus, another Stoic. He was a slave who became a philosopher. He said, what troubles people is not events, but their judgments about them. So it's not your bad day that's bad. It's your reaction that makes it so. Not easy to apply, but it helps put things in perspective. He believed we can only control our thoughts and actions, not the world around us. Basically, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Everything happens for a reason, even if you don't see it yet. Letting go is the key. One more Stoic legend, Seneca. He lived at the court of Emperor Nero and wrote essays and letters on how to live a virtuous life in a chaotic world. To him, life is short, so don't waste it chasing shallow pleasures. He also believed death isn't to be feared, it's just a natural part of life. Seneca is your reminder that time is precious. If you're doom scrolling on social media, think of Seneca. And finally, Pyrrho, the ultimate skeptic. He believed we can't really know anything for sure. So why stress? He's the philosopher of letting go. Can't decide between pizza or pasta? Doesn't matter. Flip a coin. And that's it, folks. A rapid tour through Greek philosophy, from Thales to Pyrrho. Did you catch everything? No? No worries. At least you got a taste of what was going on in those brilliant minds. If you liked the video, drop a comment or ask a question. And don't forget to subscribe. And remember, philosophy starts with asking questions, even if we don't always have the answers.